All right, let's discuss this Nico situation before I let you out. You mentioned that, Florida has 98% of their roster locked down with NIL deals for next year. Tennessee does not. This is maybe what college football needed. I don't know. I'm really interested to see where he lands. And obviously if he ends up with a $4 million deal or better or something like that, then maybe this was the right move for him. And it's definitely not going to deter other people from following.
Yeah.
But let's say he gets less than Tennessee. Was this like a good lesson that college football needed to learn?
So I said, it's fun as a fan to watch Tennessee in shambles.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, I said, look, this could set a precedent. That's not good for college football. And
Yeah,
I hate to cheer against people. That's not the goal here.
sure.
I'm cheering against the circumstance. Like
Yeah.
we have something has to happen. There needs to be accountability essentially, so this doesn't become the norm. And in a way, you're kind of like, yeah, he's between. It was UNC. I can't remember if there's three schools: UNC, someone else, and Tulane. But UNC just pulled
UCLA, right?
UCLA.
I think it was UCLA.
So now it's down to UCLA and Tulane.
Right.
I would love for Tulane because to me that's a massive drop. I mean, I know Tulane's kind of been up there,
And
but they
didn't
didn't.
they lose their quarterback last year because he wanted more money and they wouldn't give it to him?
Yeah, he just entered the portal. When we played them, they didn't
Right.
have anybody because everybody
Right.
left. Well, maybe they have. That's why they have all the money now. Um, I heard I on the sideline from people that it was also about play calling.
So this has come out a little bit on social media today that he was asking Tennessee to change the system for him,
Yep, that's what I heard.
which is that more or less offensive than wanting $4 million that you ask the coach to run a different offense than
For you.
he's been running for you?
And then Josh Pate, I guess, mentioned too that he was considering sitting out the playoff game, which that
I
seems
saw that. Which
which
do you remember back when the playoffs were happening, there was all these rumors that there is a team that is competing that is struggling to hold together their roster because of NIL. And I think we all kind of made the assumption it was Ohio State because there had been, rumblings about players not being happy and whatever else. And then Ohio State goes on this tear. But were those rumors all along about Tennessee?
it seems like it probably was now. I mean, given that it's where we're at.
Yeah,
But yeah, and again, I'm not rooting against anybody, but
sure.
you kind of hope that something he doesn't get exactly what he wants,
Mhm.
so it doesn't encourage others to do it. But the other part of it too, here we say this like I'm sitting here this in this seat. We don't know what his situation at Tennessee was. I don't that's the other part of it too. We just see one side of it, and
Sure.
I always try to kind of be not in the middle, but we're sitting here saying like, oh, you're selfish, whatever. But who knows what Tennessee said and pulled back on? That's the other part we don't know. And
Yeah.
Tennessee's the big corporation, the big name. They're able to kind of control a narrative to an extent. That there
Yeah.
is that part.
Now, I will say he sat his first year, right, and made $2 million to do that. And then year two had an underwhelming season for what the expectations for him were. So, I mean, I don't know, and maybe they did renege on something, but you've got to think paying somebody $2 million to not play is a pretty big sign of commitment to that guy, right? I mean, that $2 million is a lot more than most players are making anywhere else.
And I remember when he signed, people were like, "That's acid." When they
Mhm.
got him, and almost like Tennessee was kind of ahead of the game. It's like signing
Yeah.
a rookie. I would say more baseball because they try to sign these guys early, kind of like, "Hey, we're gonna buy in on you. We're gonna give you like a $6 million deal without waiting 2 years. I'm gonna pay you a 10 million, $500 million contract. Like, can we save some money? But we're gonna take that risk that you're gonna be
Yeah.
that guy." They did that, and then he was able to kind of, and that's a problem too. They bought in on you and paid you when you weren't that guy.
Yeah.
That's just and you took it because
Yeah.
you weren't doing anything. Yeah, look, there's so many avenues to it, but I wouldn't mind if he ended up at like a Tulane. UCLA, they probably have the money, but you're gonna just fade off into the distance. I mean, Jaden Rashada to me is a perfect example of what not to do, and people are still doing. I mean, he did exactly what we're talking about and did not come out better for it.
Right. Gator fans, the NCAA tournament might be over, but there are plenty of other sports for you to be tuned into. Make sure that you are following BetUS TV. They will keep you up to date on everything you need to know on NHL, the NBA playoffs, the NFL draft is coming up. You can find out all the information you want to know at BetUS TV. We appreciate them for the support of this channel, so make sure you're checking them out. Well, and I think that, you know, again, I don't want to root against a kid either, but the
Yeah,
hope kind of is you pull this stuff and it doesn't work so that it doesn't set the precedent. And I honestly tip my hat to Josh Heupel because he wasn't putting up with it either. And I appreciate him not being willing to kind of give in to the demands because if he had, how many people the next week are going to be in their coach's office wanting more money? You know,
and they took
and
time off. People think
yeah.
that he was just like that. Nico said, "Hey, I don't want." They said he basically, I think, asked for it, kind of tried to play hardball, and
Hmm.
he's like, "You're not. We're not doing this. See you later."
Yeah. Yeah, and I mean, all of this happening right before the spring game is, wild too. And I almost wish, I saw so many people comment on social media saying, well, coaches can leave for a better deal. And, Seth Greenberg commented on that on X and he said, yeah, but coaches have buyouts, which made me think that would be an interesting thing. Like, you want to try and chase the bag and go somewhere else? Like, okay, have that opportunity, but there be some sort of buyout clause built into these contracts so that these schools can recoup some of that money. So, I mean, truly, Tennessee paid just over $4 million for 2 years to get waxed the first round of the playoff. And him, I think he was like, I don't know, 10 for 20 in that playoff game or something. I mean, 15 for 30, something completely unimpressive. Was that worth over $4
No,
million?
you didn't take him there. That team was pretty well, I would say,
No,
established.
it was for sure, yeah.
They
And
had
he
Sam
wore dress and nail polish while he
they
did it.
had
And I mean, he belongs in a West Coast school, like just for the dress.
yeah, he kinda fits that vibe, and that's why he wanted to change the offense because, again, I mean, think about it, they did run the ball a lot last year. It didn't really flow into the, "Let's throw it 55 times." That's probably what he wanted as well. So,
Right.
look, I think, I saw somebody say, "It almost makes me wanna cheer for Tennessee." That's asinine. I hope they fall flat on their face, um, with it. Even though, like, I respect his move,
Uh-huh.
I pray for their downfall just as much
Oh,
as
absolutely. Like, doesn't mean I'm rooting for you. It means I
no.
respect you more than
There's
I did
sympathy for this, yeah.
beforehand.
I hope you the crap that we had to hear, our guy Sports Talk with Jay, he's had his times of trying to look how Gator fans I almost wanna go and watch his stuff, and look, I love
I'm
there's no nothing horrible with Sports Talk, but he's had his times of running, and now it's shambles right now, and I'm having fun, I'm going to.
oh,
We've been outside, and
oh,
it's
I mean,
never not gonna not be there. There's a possibility it's gonna be there.
oh, absolutely. I will. I mean, any opportunity to rag on any of our rivals, I am
TJ
100%
knows.
here for it. I root for meteors for all of their games, not just for a loss. But this is interesting, and I'm interested to follow the story. I hope he ends up with less than his original contract with Tennessee, and I hope that it sends a message that like this just isn't okay. I am all for the players getting a piece of the pie, and I remember when Eric played, you couldn't get Bright Futures and your
Mm.
football scholarship. So Eric, who didn't qualify for Pell Grant, would have qualified for Bright Futures, but couldn't get it because he had an athletic scholarship. Like there were times where he was, and his parents didn't give him additional money. And like thinking back, like, okay, do I pay the power bill now or do I pay my cell phone bill or I do, and meanwhile, he started every single game of his entire college career for the University of Florida, who was making plenty of money off of these games. So like I totally get the concept of these guys getting a piece of the pie. I just feel like there's something between do I pay my cell phone bill or my power bill? And I'm worth $4 million and I'm, maybe the sixth best quarterback in the SEC.
Look, I don't know. There's a blueprint. The NFL does it.
Right.
Just make it just simplify this thing. This it's a headache. Look, I don't honestly I don't hate it as content creators. We have something to always talk about with it.
Sure.
But as a fan, I'm like, "Okay, it's getting old. I just give us the ability to talk smack. Like it's fun to kind of troll, but at the same time, like I kind of want to beat you shit up too. I don't want to have you limping in into to next season and just get to blame it on because your quarterback left. Like, nah, I wanted Tennessee at its fullest, and I don't think they're
Yeah.
going to be anything now.
Yeah. Well, I'll take the win. I'm okay with that. But
You're
it is
telling
fun
me.
to beat the best. The good news is we have one of the hardest schedules in the country, so they'll have plenty of opportunities to beat the best next year. But Sheldon, I appreciate it. I know that lots of our listeners here already follow High Top, but just in case there's anybody watching who doesn't, tell them where they can follow you on social media and YouTube and everywhere else.
Yep, Hightop Sports on X, on YouTube, and Instagram. We don't post much, but I'm trying to get better at it. But yeah, YouTube, we're live every Monday for Champs Corner with Stephen Harris, and live every Wednesday at 8:35, best day of the week. And that show has a multitude of guests. We have Balin Trulio, I believe. He's Aiden Warner's quarterback coach on Wednesday. So I kind of excited to pick his. I was talking to him on Saturday about like his progress that he's made. And look, I know DJ's our guy, but let's talk about the room. So that'll be cool.
Fun fact for you, Eric's mom was Aiden's math teacher.
Wow, this tiny world. Tiny,
Tiny
tiny,
world.
tiny
Winter
world.
Park,
I love it.
Florida. Very tiny world. All right. Well, we appreciate you hanging out. We will do it again real soon.